So he's having second doubts about himself. Oh no, he's gonna go revive someone maybe. But could we trust Stanley? I don't know. That seems like a risk. Dr. Stone dropped a diabolical cliffhanger, and I'm not sure where it's gonna go. It's gonna be a make or break it for sure. Make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new around here on Patreon and can catch full live reactions to all this Dr. Stone greatness. But we got a lot to talk about, but the big moment is this moment. By all accounts, we have a captain who is capable of the mission. But he's also a captain who's not arrogant enough to think he is an all-knowing, all-powerful god. He also knows when it comes to combat, he isn't the most suited, nor does he believe he is the #1 pilot. He thinks that is Stanley. Now, if this was not the end of a show, right? We weren't approaching the finish line with, what, 4 episodes left to go? I would fully believe Stanley would betray us. They would find a way for Stanley to say, actually, Zeno, my boy, you're wrong. I'm going to stab these guys in the back. But because of the amount of episodes left and I don't expecting us to have like a negative ending where we get stabbed in the back, Stanley will probably not screw us over, especially if Zeno's like, hey, I'm working with them now. He'll be like, okay, I suppose. But it is a gamble. It's supposed to be a 3-person mission. Kohaku, Ryusei, and Senku makes sense as a duo. But objectively, if we could only have 3, Stanley would be a better suit if he worked with us. Better fighting capabilities, which adds to our arsenal, also technically better piloting. But it is a gamble. It is a make it or break it. He could easily shoot us in the head. He could easily crash. He could do so much wrong. And we can make the argument, well, you know, I mean, worst comes to worst, he starts screwing us over. We could have a second pilot on board, but right now it's being designed around a 3-person ship, so unless they do some insane modifications, that's highly unlikely. But I think given what we saw earlier into the episode, where originally Tsukasa was the one initially planned to be the warrior, but after seeing Koku's capabilities and then even testing her, he admits that you're not that far off from me in terms of physical power, and with the aid of science, you easily can surpass me and would surpass me. Given fuel is an important thing in efficiency, why take someone who weighs 2 or 3 times her body weight when she's pretty much capable of the same things? They already set in motion that changing the crew dynamic from what you expect it to be is on the table. So having Koku replace Tsukasa, having Stanley replace Ryusei is definitely looking likely. It's just, of course, it's that gamble. But this was a very interesting episode for progressing things way past where we ever thought possible. We have properly introduced the internet. When he initially said that we were going to make the internet via tea leaves, I thought that makes no sense. I love the fact that it's simultaneously a great drink, but also the stickiness and the fact that it can absorb and not allow water to pass through. It basically acts as the insulation for their cables running across the globe in order to keep everyone connected. The thing that has always been consistent about Dr. Stone is how it's never fucked around with the fact that, hey, if we're going to say we're going to do some crazy things, we're always going to make sure it feels logical for what they're doing. The cables are a great example, but the biggest is how scientists from across the globe, engineers from across the globe, how are you going to properly communicate? Because without computers, there's no real, like, yeah, you could fax things, you could do, but with the complexity of what we're doing, we need instantaneous relay of information, right? And the way they essentially did a touchscreen is the most brilliant thing I didn't know I needed. It's a super interesting way to get instantaneous information while also being able to show everyone their diagrams and stuff in as picture-perfect way as possible. Like, it was very cool to see everyone light up on the TV, be like, oh my god, we're communicating. But this was the moment that really said, okay, this is possible, this is doable, this relay of information of all these brilliant minds, now it actually feels like we're going to do something that's possible, which is something you don't expect to work out with, you know, a handful of episodes left, but now this all makes sense. So I will say I think my favorite part of this episode was the watches, which basically you can set the timer and they will explode revival fluid all over you. This is something that, it was last core, I honestly thought of this exact idea of a watch that could do this. The thing is they didn't have enough time to build a device like this, so in doing so, they had to find other ways to unpetrify themselves, such as having, you know, a thing fall on you and do the juice that way. But this is a game changer, because even if the world was petrified again, as long as everyone wears these bracelets, because every time the Earth has been fucked over, we've always seen the glow. So we always have a quick moment to be like, oh shit, okay, let's activate this ship. Absolute game changer. And they even break down why a rapid succession blast wouldn't even be something we have to really concern ourselves with. You got the weapons, you got the defense mechanism for revival. Hell, you can literally send people into space stone-wise and just have it go off at a certain point. Everything seems to be in place, and everything seems like it's going to work out. So, of course, there's that natural fear of things not working out, but the groundwork's here. 4 episodes to go, if memory serves. It's got to work out. I definitely think with the amount of episodes we have left, either they're going to do an insane time skip when it's all over, or we're not going to necessarily see them return to Earth, but it'll be like that we see the ship going back to Earth, and that's how it will end. But we're definitely seeing space before the end of this for sure. It's just a matter of what the hell we find on the moon. If it's a person, do we just blast them and kill them? If it's a machine, do we blast them with some radiation, some EMP blast? I don't know. But either way, it'll be interesting to see what the punchline will be. But, I mean, the season's been fantastic. I think the pacing has been right. There's only been a couple of points where I was like, if we were to have 6, maybe even 12 more episodes, maybe certain things we could see a bit more of. But I think the internet was a great example of not really needing it to be longer than what they delivered. Literally just seeing like, okay, you explained how you're going to put cables in the ocean, which we already do, but you explained how you're going to insulate it. Makes total sense. We saw the boats, we saw this, that, and the third. We saw them have like, okay, we're not just going to drag it completely from one end to the other. We're going to drag it to this island, to this island. And then you see the expansion, right? Stuff like that is more than enough, and you don't need to spend an insane amount of time with it to understand what they're doing. And I think there are things we need to cut down on if we're going to get to the meat and potatoes in the main attraction. I mean, there's like a voice in my head, man, is there enough episodes to get to space to have a satisfying ending? There is that slight concern, but if I look at things objectively, Dr. Stone has never disappointed me with what it's done so far. I've heard mixed things with how people have, dealt with the ending, but I mean, at the end of the day, every single ending that was apparently bad when it came to the anime fandoms, for the most part, enjoyed them. So given the fact that I haven't heard like, oh my god, worst ending of all time, I just heard a lot of people say, the ending's not that great. I mean, I'm sure the ending will be fine for an anime. But either way, you can let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think of this episode? What do you think of taking Stanley over Yusei? Definitely a gamble, and literally is a make it or break it, because if he decides to turn on us, I mean, Rebozo's game over. Thoughts down below, though. Make sure you drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course the Patreon for live reactions over there and other exclusives, because I gotta give those videos shows because my patrons make it all possible over here on YouTube. Alright, so today we got Hunter D. Lupin, Cosmo Netto 140, Zeno, Tony, Yuki Ali, Zython, Rogue Knight, Pranay Sumshwar, Darian Smith, Raj Vermullins, Diedrich Savan. We also have Chewbacca. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.